What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Weird Car History, the show where I enlighten your minds on some of the weirdest, uncommon cars to ever hit the road. Last episode, we analyzed the Lincoln Mark LT, and for episode 8, as per viewer request, I present to you GM's somewhat recently short-lived roadster, the Buick Cascada. If you're new to Weird Car History, here's the drill. I'm going to tell you what the Cascada was, explain its oddities, analyze why it was a flop, give you some sales figures, and to conclude, if I convince you to want one of these, I'll be showing you some Cascadas currently on the market if you want to give one a home. Alright, so for some background information, the Cascada debuted in the United States for the 2016 model year, sharing a platform with the Opel Cascada, which was sold in Europe. Once again, GM pulled its favorite trick of taking one of their current models and slapping a different badge on it, and voila, the Buick Cascada was born. The Buick Cascada shared basically everything with its Opel brethren, including the powertrain. For specifics, the Cascada featured a 1.6-liter i4 turbo engine, which produced 200 horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque. Back in 2016, the Cascada started at approximately $34,000 for the base models and about $37,000 for the premium models. To translate in terms of inflation, the base models would cost approximately $44,500 in 2024, while the premium trim would cost about $48,400. As you might expect, there are plenty of unique features of the Cascada, starting with its name, which means waterfall in Spanish. Beyond the name, one of the oddest features pertains to its color options, specifically what colors you could choose from. When the Cascada came out in America in 2016, it was offered in 6 colors. Of these 6 colors, only 2 exterior colors did not come with the premium charge, which was Summit White and Deep Sky Metallic. This means if you wanted a Cascada in any other color besides white or light blue, you had to pay a premium charge for a different shade of paint. Aside from 4 additional paint options, another odd feature of the premium trim Cascadas was the wind deflector. I get the purpose of having this if you're looking for a quieter drive while the top is down, but this has to be one of the most awkward looking wind deflectors that I've ever seen on a convertible. Another cool touch that the Cascada offered was the automatic seatbelt delivery system, which is something you'd often find in a more upscale vehicle rather than a Buick. As I said, the Cascada was originally sold as an Opel in Europe, which means there were different safety requirements in the United States. Vehicles in the US must have taillights fixed in place in a part that doesn't move. On the Cascada, though, its taillights are positioned entirely on the trunk, which means GM had to make an additional pair of fixed taillights under the trunk lid while it was open to comply with US safety standards. In general, though, I always thought the Cascada had a simplistic, well-designed look. Although they're pretty uncommon in the United States, I've always thought that they looked much better in person than they do in photos. So why did the Cascada fail? The Cascada faced a weird predicament in the United States. On paper, it's a simple little convertible made by General Motors, but when you take a closer look at everything, there wasn't really a target market for the Cascada. If there was any target market, it might have been retirees. See, there were plenty of convertibles or roadsters for sale in the United States in the late 2010s, but many of them were muscle cars, performance, or luxury driven, all offering significantly more power than the Cascada did. With a 0 to 60 time of roughly 8.3 seconds, no option for a manual transmission, and only 200 horsepower, the Cascada was more of a cruiser than a nimble roadster or a sport convertible. However, the Cascada still carried a decently hefty price tag that's hard to justify for many people, especially those with larger families. There really was no direct competition for the Cascada in the US besides Volkswagen EOS, which was discontinued in the Cascada's first production year, but still, even without direct competitors, the Cascada struggled to sell. Moreover, demand for roadsters and convertibles has fallen drastically over the past decade, as few people flock to Buick dealerships to buy a Cascada. Come 2019, and the Cascada was experiencing disappointing sales and getting pretty lackluster reviews. On top of that, Opel was sold to Group PSA, a French car company, for 2.2 billion euros. Shortly after, GM pulled the plug and discontinued production of the Cascada. As far as total lifetime sales go, I'm genuinely surprised. I would have thought Buick sold well over 20,000 Cascadas in the United States over its entire production run. I know they're uncommon, but I feel like I've seen way more Cascadas than any of the 7 other vehicles I've featured on Weird Car History. My only guess as to why it feels more common is because it's by far the most recently discontinued vehicle of the 8 that I've made videos on. Either that, or there's a lot of Cascada owners in New Jersey. Anyways, in terms of total lifetime sales, the exact figure is 19,923 units, which places the Cascada 5th on the totem pole of cars featured on Weird Car History. While these aren't exceptionally rare, as you can probably expect, you are significantly more likely to encounter a Cascada in the wild during the spring or summer. Sales of the Cascada peaked in the vehicle's debut year of 2016 with approximately 7,100 sales. However, annual sales will continue to dissipate on an annual basis, falling to roughly 5,600 in 2017, 4,600 in 2018, before plunging to 2,500 in 2019, causing Buick to pull the plug. So while the Cascada fared significantly better than the 94X, H3T, and ZDX, it still fell short of its quirky counterparts, such as the HS250H, Borrego, SSR, and the current top dog on the totem pole, the Lincoln Mark LT. Alright, so if I convince you to want a Cascada of your own, you have a wide selection of 214 options to choose from nationwide in the United States, according to Car Gurus as of February 5th, 2025. I will say these hold their values respectably well. The lowest mileage Cascada you can get has about 5,000 miles, with the highest touting over 148,000 miles. The best deal I saw was about $12,000 for a 2-owner Cascada Premium with roughly 78,000 miles. This Cascada has a silver exterior and the jet black leather interior. If you want the lowest mileage Cascada, it'll cost you about $23,600 for a 1-owner, 5,000 mile Cascada Premium offered in carbon black metallic with the jet black leather interior. And if you want the highest mileage Cascada, which has over 148,000 miles, it will cost you about $8,000 for a 1-owner Cascada Premium offered in silver, also featuring the jet black leather interior. So with that, into the oblivion goes the Cascada. The Cascada was a simple little roadster with an appealing design, and was kinda in a league of its own in the United States for the few years it was sold. Unfortunately, few people wanted to be a part of that league. I always get a kick out of seeing the Cascada on the highway. It was a little convertible that gave the Buick lineup a greater sense of character, but alas, with falling demand and weak sales, the Cascada was met with a quick demise. Anyways, if any of you watching own a Cascada, I would love to hear stories of personal ownership and reliability, so feel free to enlighten us in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the 8th episode of Weird Car History. Please let me know what you liked or what you didn't like. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, good or bad. And if you have a request for a car you want to see on Weird Car History, drop it in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a video of it. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for more videos down the road.